I'm 77 now. Most mornings I wake up and feel the weight of every year pressing down on my chest, like a reminder that the time I thought I had is already gone. I never imagined I'd live long enough to feel this way, and yet here I am, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours I didn't notice slipping through my fingers. I wish someone had told me, back when I was 25, that time doesn't wait, that the moments you think are endless are the very ones that disappear first. I wish someone had said, pay attention, don't delay, don't assume there will be a tomorrow for things that matter. At 25, I thought I knew everything about life. I thought I had the world figured out. I was full of plans, full of ambition, full of the kind of reckless certainty only youth can hold. I believed that if I worked hard enough, if I chased enough, if I achieved enough, everything else would fall into place. And I thought love, friendships, family, those things could wait. There would be time for all of it later. But later was a lie I told myself. A comfortable illusion I clung to because facing the present was too much like stopping. I remember those days vividly. I was living in a small apartment with peeling wallpaper and a stubborn little radiator that clanged every night like it was screaming at me to get out of bed. I would sit at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, staring at the unpaid bills and wondering which dream I could chase next. I thought that being busy was the same as being alive, that every promotion, every extra hour, every weekend spent networking was building the life I wanted. But in truth, it was just passing time without noticing the moments that mattered. I dated a few women during those years. Some of them were extraordinary, some of them I barely remember now. I treated love like an experiment, something to test, to enjoy, to tick off the list when convenient. I convinced myself that I was too young to settle, too ambitious to pause. I thought that when I finally found the right person, I'd suddenly be ready. I wasn't ready then, and I never truly realized that readiness is just another excuse for postponing the things you're afraid of. In my 30s, the quiet consequences of those choices began to settle in. I had climbed higher at work, earned recognition, even bought a decent house. But friendships that I assumed would last forever began to fade. People moved on, married, had children, and I stayed behind, wrapped up in my own self-made cocoon of priorities. I remember calling an old friend one evening, trying to make small talk, and realizing I couldn't remember the last time I had heard his voice. And the love I had delayed? By the time I thought I could fully give myself, the timing was already wrong. Life had moved on without me. The slow cost of those early years is something no one warns you about. It's not dramatic, it's not a sudden tragedy you can point to and say, there it is, the mistake. It's quiet, insidious. It's sitting alone on a Sunday afternoon, realizing you don't have anyone to share the news of a small victory with. It's missing a call from a parent and discovering weeks later that they've passed. It's attending weddings and birthdays and feeling like a ghost in the background. It's the realization that the life you built is one you built mostly for yourself. And now, decades later, the people you wanted beside you are gone or distant. I had a moment of clarity in my 50s. My first wife, her name was Eleanor, she died suddenly. I had assumed I had time to be the husband she deserved, to listen more, to hold her more, to say the things that mattered. I had promised myself that I'd do those things soon, but soon never came. She was gone, and with her went all the opportunities I had postponed. All the moments I had thought I could make up later evaporated in an instant. That was when I realized the bitter truth. The life you think you're building in your 20s is fragile, and the people you delay loving are not guaranteed to be there forever. I look back at my career and feel a mix of pride and emptiness. I achieved a lot, more than I ever imagined, but it doesn't fill the corners of my life that are empty. Success doesn't comfort you in the dark, doesn't keep loneliness at bay, doesn't replace the warmth of a friend's presence or the laughter of someone who knows you inside out. Achievements are hollow if you've spent the years chasing them while the people you love drift away unnoticed. The years continue one after another, and you barely notice the small moments that define a life. I remember my parents' faces, now only in memories, and the ache of not having appreciated them fully while they were alive. My father's slow, deliberate smiles, my mother's laughter over the phone. Simple things I assumed I could always revisit, moments I thought I could reclaim later. But memory is not the same as presence. No matter how vividly I remember, I can't hear their voices in real time. I can't feel their hands or share a meal with them, and that is a cost I will carry for the rest of my life. I've had children and I love them more than I can express. But even there, the same pattern repeated. I worked long hours, traveled for work, chased deadlines. I missed school plays, birthdays, quiet evenings at home. I assumed they understood that my absence was a form of love, that my sacrifices were for their future. Perhaps they did, but I wish I had been there more. I wish I had shown them that presence is a deeper kind of love than gifts or accomplishments. I've also been lucky in small ways. I've had moments that took my breath away, afternoons spent in the company of friends who remained, conversations that lingered in my mind for decades. Those are treasures, and I hold them close. But they are threads in a larger tapestry with holes I cannot repair. Holes made by postponed calls, forgotten visits, delayed confessions of love. Holes made by the quiet, cumulative cost of assuming there will always be more time. At 77, I understand the fragility of life more than I ever did. I understand that regrets are not always about mistakes or failures. They are about delay, about assuming that tomorrow will give you what today refuses to offer. I see now that time is the most honest measure of love and attention. Everything else is fleeting: success, possessions, recognition. But time given, fully, attentively, generously, is the only thing that truly matters. I think about my 20s and all the advice I wish someone had offered. I would have told that young man, slow down, pay attention, don't chase approval at the cost of presence. Listen, love fiercely, not cautiously. Make the phone call today. Hug the person you care about today. Don't postpone kindness, don't delay gratitude, don't assume there is an endless stretch of years ahead. There isn't. Not really. The turning points in life are not always catastrophic. Sometimes they are subtle, a quiet realization that life has passed by while you were busy living in your head. Sometimes they are devastating, like the sudden loss of someone you love. Either way, they are irreversible. You cannot undo them. You cannot retrieve the lost hours. You cannot call back a missed opportunity, and the weight of that truth grows heavier with each passing year. I won't lie and say that I am bitter. That would be dishonest. I am grateful for what I've had, the love, the children, the work I accomplished, the friendships that survived, the mornings when the sunlight hits just right and I feel a momentary peace. But gratitude and sorrow coexist in the same space. I carry them both every day. because you cannot appreciate what you have without understanding what you have lost. If someone at 25 could hear me now, I would whisper this as quietly as possible. Cherish the ordinary moments. They are extraordinary in their fleetingness. Don't delay connection. Don't assume there will be more time than there actually is. The little things, the phone calls, the smiles, the quiet presence beside someone who matters, those are the things that make life whole. Everything else can wait, but not those moments. They cannot wait. I have lived a long life. I have made choices, some I regret, some I am proud of. But if there is one truth that I wish I could impress upon the younger version of myself, it is this. Time is a currency you cannot earn back. Spend it wisely. Spend it on people. Spend it on love. Spend it on being present, because it is gone faster than you think, and once it's gone, there is no return. Now I sit in my chair in the quiet of my home, the years behind me stretching like a faded photograph. I feel the weight of what I've missed, but I also feel the faint warmth of what remains. And I realize, perhaps too late, that life is measured not in achievements, not in money, not in titles, but in presence. In the way you showed up for the people who mattered. In the moments you didn't postpone. So, if this means anything to you, if my words reach someone who is still young enough to change the path, listen carefully. Do not wait. Do not delay. The world will still turn if you slow down, if you step away from chasing the next big thing. But the people you love, the moments you cherish, they will not wait. Love today. Be present today. And maybe, just maybe, you will avoid the quiet, persistent ache of realizing too late that life's true treasures were always in front of you, waiting for your attention. And that, I suppose, is all I can leave behind. A warning, a confession, a whisper from a man who has lived long enough to understand the value of presence and the cost of postponing it.